Paul Moses Moody did what he could against LeBron James, but that's no match. You just wonder, could Big FC some minutes, at least in that game? You're down 18. Let him guard LeBron James. Like, I just don't get it, Shasky. I just don't get it. Be tuned in to 95.7 The Game all day today for the Warriors Aftermath presented by Mara West. Download the Odyssey app. We're going to get back to all the calls. Let's go to Shasky first. Shasky, you've been on fire today, man. You've been hitting on all cylinders.
Well, it's about time. I mean, when you miss as much as I do, you're good for you're due for a big game. But no, honestly, B, Draymond said something very poignant at the beginning. The better team won. And that was the Lakers. And I don't think there's any denying. And I think what ends up happening sometimes in these, it happens in every sport, but like your flaw becomes exploited in a game or a series of a playoff game. And we maybe overrate because that team in particular is a matchup nightmare and we overcorrect, right? Like, but to me, the series against the Lakers showcased all the flaws that they showed all year. It wasn't just one thing. So I don't think we're overreacting to say, this team didn't have it this year. It was off from the jump. They were roster problems, chemistry problems, some coaching issues. I have some philosophical issues with their offense.
Right.
Defensively, they couldn't stay in front of anyone.
Nope.
They were too many one-way players. They didn't develop any of the youngsters. They banked way high on some of the veterans, the star guys like Draymond and Klay Thompson.
Right.
Iguodala to a lesser degree, Jermichael Green to a lesser degree. Things went awry all year long. And on some level, they were lucky to get to the second round.
It's remarkable, really.
But ultimately, in a year where you have Steph Curry in his prime and you're the defending champions, you failed.
No doubt.
And I can't deny that. Even though I actually think they overachieved because of all the things I just referenced.
No, they did overachieve. It's actually remarkable they got to that point. It's remarkable that Andrew Wiggins, after missing 2 straight months, was able to play at the level that he did. It's remarkable that Klay Thompson had his best offensive months of his career in January and February. It wasn't a big drop-off in March.
Yes.
Playoffs get here, and teams did a great job of scouting the Warriors. Mike Brown, knowing the intel. You got to credit Mike Brown and the Sacramento Kings. They laid the blueprint, for the LA Lakers in that series. And what I mean by that is the Kings really turned Klay Thompson into you're going to be an off-the-dribble player. We all know Klay Thompson's not that guy. He's just never been that guy.
He dribbled more in these 2 playoff series than his whole career.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
I just remember the 11 dribble game when he dropped 60.
That's what I'm saying.
11 dribbles.
You know what Lucas said to me over the weekend? And it was an interesting, and I'm not
Lucas
trying to...
Alexander, producer for Willard Dibs.
Apologies. It's interesting. He goes, I think they'd be a better team this year had Klay not taken 1 dribble in both series.
Yep.
And I go, wow. I actually think you're right on that.
But what those teams did.
But I'm not trying to scapegoat Klay. I'm just saying, his flaw is dribbling and playmaking.
You have to give the other team credit. Sacramento and the Lakers.
Yes, they identified that.
They pressured Curry all 94 feet, and they made other guys handle the ball. And they made Klay Thompson the ball handler. They took away Draymond Green. First of all, Draymond Green, he could dribble all he wanted to, but nobody was guarding him.
Yes.
They didn't respect him enough. Now,
100%.
Draymond Green was able to make Sacramento pay.
Yes.
He made the Lakers pay in Game 5. He made the Lakers pay in Game 2.
But not enough.
But it was not consistent enough.
Yes.
So making Klay Thompson a ball handler, now you make him play. The weakest part of his game is handling the ball and creating off the dribble. And they turned Klay Thompson into that player.
Absolutely.
He's a catch-and-shoot guy.
And
same thing with Jordan Poole.
And similar to the beginning of the year, it did feel like to me with every Klay Thompson miss, you could feel the not the depression, but you could feel the weight of every shot and every miss, and I could feel it kept mounting and mounting and mounting, and I felt so bad for him. And again, I'm not trying to run Klay. I'm not. I love Klay Thompson. I felt so bad for him watching because every miss was exasperated, and it felt worse than the miss before, and it was tough to watch.
So
I felt
you see
for
our
him.
setup that we were watching the Game 6. We watched the game on a little demo wall.
I did see that.
We should have discovered that. That was a great way to watch
You look like
basketball
Siskel and
game.
Ebert.
Yeah,
you remember the old Siskel and Ebert when they show?
No doubt. That was a great photo. I may have to frame that one.
It was really cool.
Lights off. Got D right there. He got Willie locked in. And I just remember Klay Thompson opened up Game 5, 1 of 7. It's like, damn, he got S7 shots up number 1, but 1 of 7? And then against the Lakers in Game 6, I'm like,
so bad.
1 of 7. 1 of 8.
It was
and
so
Bully's
bad.
looking over like, all right, Coach Bonte. I'm like, hey, man, he's got to make a shot.
He was
and then they were down
front-rimming.
11. Matt Nahigan actually made a great tweet. He had a great tweet. He's been on
when
fire,
he missed
too.
their down.
Down 11.
Dude,
down 11.
That was the
Great
moment
looks.
of the game. If they were going to come back, it was
That was
right
it
there.
right there.
I
That was
agree.
it right there. 80 bricks. That, they're calling him Klay Thompson. But look, the last 4 games, look at Klay. After he goes off for game 2, 11 of 18, 8 of 11 from 3, 30 points. Game 3, 5 of 14, 3 of 9 from 3, 15. Game 4, 3 of 11, 3 of 9 from 3, 9 points. Game 5, 3 of 12, 2 of 6 from the 3-point line, 10 points. And then game 6, which was just, may have been his worst basketball game he's had at least 8 years. 3 of 19, 2 of 12 from the 3-point line, 5 assists, 8 points in 38 minutes. He had great looks. And he couldn't buy a basket in front of his family, in front of his friends, in front of his father, calling the game on the Lakers radio network.
Well, and I think this is where, I want everyone to hear what we're saying here. There's context to everything. He had a horrible series.
Horrible series.
But moving forward, can he be the number 2? Probably not.
No.
But I'll say this, and you have to give him his respect. Klay Thompson this year, I wrote this down. 22 points per game, 21.9.
Yep.
That's the 3rd highest of his career.
Yep.
He made 301 threes. That led the league.
It's the most threes he's ever made.
He had 4 40-point games, 11 30-point games, and 2 different games with 12-plus threes made.
And don't forget about that 50-burger.
Okay, there you go. I didn't even have that written down. He led the Warriors on that winning streak that we were talking about,
Right,
the 5-game winning
streak, which is their longest winning streak of the season.
He had a horrible series. You could even say he had a bad playoff. All that is true. But I don't think he's finished. I don't think he's washed. I just think that the role needs to
change.
evolve.
He has to take a step back. And we talked about this last week, Shasky. Literally, we were having a discussion. I said, in order for the Warriors to go on a deep run, Wiggins has to be their second best player, like he was a season ago.
Yes.
Klay is your 3rd and 4th option. You could do a lot worse.
So I'm saying,
you could do a lot worse.
22-point third
And
option.
in today's game with the spacing,
Exactly.
just have Klay stand on the 3-point line. I'm going to take one from you, Kyle Korver. I'm not saying he's Kyle Korver because I think a lot of teams are a lot more threatened by Klay Thompson than it is Kyle Korver. But he has to take a step back. He can't be your number 2 option anymore in the championship team. I think that's fair.
And here's the biggest problem is that I think we're going to look at this series and say he was trying to get himself going, and he was. But
he also had a lot of good looks in this series.
But Bonte, they needed him too because they didn't have a second scorer.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have the reliable number 2 dog, the clear-cut number 2 dog. And I get it, the motion offense, and this goes back to offensive philosophy with Steve Kerr. I get why the motion offense worked for Klay and for Steph and what it's done. It needs a changeup. You need to have a second pitch. And right now, similar to the West Coast offense, if you don't have wrinkles, if you can't run the ball effectively, then if you can't all be smoke screens, right? You got to throw a little something else out there. And that's where I'm looking at saying, hey, I love the motion. It cannot be your bread and butter.
You can't just do motion offense when you got 2 non-scorers on the floor all at the same time.
Exactly.
These guys aren't getting guarded.
Exactly.
Anthony Davis is not guarding GP2. He's not guarding Draymond Green. He's able to camp out in the paint and relax and shut off the paint points.
Monte, we would always talk about Phil Jackson and the triangle. Oh, the triangle. 6 minutes to go. You think they're running the triangle with Jordan and with
no.
Kobe?
Get the ball to Jordan and get the hell out of the way.
That's my point.
Kobe Bryant give you a high ball screen and let him cook.
Thank you.
All right?
So
same thing with Curry. Get the hell out to the Lakers' credit in Game 4. They snuffed Curry. AD played great defense on Steph
he was
Curry.
amazing. AD was the best player in the series.
And
I can't believe I'm saying that.
No, he was the best player in the series. Hands down. Better than LeBron, better than Steph.
He was awesome.
He was the best. He was the difference maker. But, one thing about Klay, as we wrap up the Klay, and we'll get back to the lines here. Klay forcing those shots in Game 4. That was a series. We look back at it, and people are saying, Bonte, why were you so depressed? They could come back from 3-1. You had to win Game 4. In this series, you had to win Game 4. LeBron James never blown a 3-1 lead. LeBron James and the Lakers are playing so well at home. You can't do that.
Bonte, what they did all year, they threw out the window. Like, they switched up Steph's minutes and this. I'll give LeBron this. I'm telling you, man. I've talked a lot about Steph Curry and his minutes and, him and Kerr. LeBron, the one thing LeBron has over Curry that I actually really envy with LeBron, he picks and chooses his minutes.
Yeah.
He picks and chooses which game, when he's going to come out. You never know what he's going to do, right? But what he does really well, he always starts in the second quarter against the weaker opponents to get himself going.
And not only that, Darvin Ham.
Yes.
Give him credit for a first-year head coach coming from Milwaukee. He made sure that they didn't play a second against the Golden State Warriors without either AD or LeBron James. They were not risking it. AD's out, LeBron in.
Hey, AD,
LeBron out, AD in.
Let me ask you this one. If they do go on to win it, wouldn't your opinion of Anthony Davis
change completely? My opinion, I sat back and watched that Lakers team.
Bonte, he was amazing.
That's why I tipped my cat right away.
Destroyed them.
A lot of people are saying, well, Bonte, you're going too soft, man. Forget the Lakers. They weren't the better team.
No, they were the better team.
They were the better team. They were the more connected
won in
team.
5.
They were the more connected team.
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
Connected. As a team, they're connected.
Absolutely.
My respect level for Anthony Davis.
Through the roof.
Austin Reeves. Because Austin Reeves, you watch him during the regular season.
Great.
Listen, you watch him during the regular season. I'm like, all right, this is a gimmick.
No.
They're hyping him up like Caruso. You watch him the last 3 games of this series when it came down to nutcracking time.
How about when he got the rebound on the floor and called timeout? That was intelligence on a whole nother level.
Austin Reeves in the last 3 games got better and better.
He did.
And he played solid defense. And he was a guy outside of LeBron and AD who played heavy minutes.
And got to the line and got to his spots on the floor.
Well, the free throw discrepancy. And I don't even want to blame the rest. Look,
the
Warriors are the worst team. The Warriors are the worst team when it comes to going to the free throw line. And they're the worst team when it comes to defending without fouling. We talked about that all. How many times did you watch the pregame show? We say, keys to the game, Fezzi or Bully, defend without fouling.
That was
we
every
must have said
day.
that 160 times. Well, guess what? The Lakers shot 160 free throws in 6 games. They doubled the Warriors up on free throw attempts, and the Warriors made 60. The Lakers made 126. They doubled them up on the tips and makes.
I know.
And I can't even sit here and say, well, the whistle was bad.
No.
I thought the whistle got clunky in game 3 in the second quarter. But then I look back at the Warriors and I say, well, you turned the ball over 9 times.
You were fouling.
You were fouling, and you turned it over 9 times.
It is what it is. I mean, you fouled all year, and you couldn't stay in front of anyone. So
but to your
it
point,
is what it is,
yeah.
B.
Hey, and you're right, though. The respect level for AD, and I can't wait for these conference finals. AD against Jokic, this is box office.
Let me tell you something.
This is must-see TV.
I watched Jokic up close and personal in that Game 6. I know. I saw him against the Warriors last year.
Right.
He's on another level.
He is. He's the best hitter of the game.
He doesn't even shoot like most people shoot like this. He shoots like a spinner. It is the most incredible. The way it spins on the rim. The guy is unbelievable. And that team, Jamal Murray's playing with such confidence right now.
Michael Porter
Even
Jr.
if the Warriors somehow were to find a way to get through the Lakers, I actually think the Nuggets were going to smoke them off the floor.
Denver may have been a problem. I mean, and you know what? You watch it be throughout that series, and I know he was hurt with the knee sprain. He wasn't 100%. But I'd be lying if I haven't watched Jokic this playoff saying, he is the MVP.
He's amazing.
He's the best hitter in the league.
He's amazing.
So that
and you know why I think he's going to last long? He doesn't jump.
No.
The guy doesn't go off the
Plays
ground.
below the rim.
But he just understands leverage and how to use his hips. And if there's a guy who's next 10 years, Luka, I'm betting on Jokic.
So Austin Reeves, real quick. I want to get to the lines here.
Yeah.
Alex Horace,
Sorry,
Louis Gray.
I'm like
we're
NBA playoff crazy.
We're going back and forth here. Austin Reeves, first 3 games, he scored a grand total of 27 points. He wasn't rebounding.
No.
He wasn't dropping dives. He wasn't getting to the free throw line. But then in game 4, something clicked. And he dropped 21. He had 4 assists. He hit 3 threes, 7 to 15. Then in game 5, quietly in the blowout, he had 15, 7 and 5 and was playing really well.
Yeah, he found himself.
And in game 6, 23, 6 and 5. And I thought the game was over, 7 to 12. I know we highlighted the Klay Thompson stretch where he hit Klay back-to-back threes. They were down 11. But Austin Reeves, when AD swatted DiVincenzo, great team defense, number 1, and then to get the ball out to Austin Reeves and Jordan Poole with the Olay, and Austin Reeves gets a clean look at half-court shot. He nailed that, and he looked at the crowd and said, yeah, the Warriors, this ain't their night. Because all of a sudden you did all that work to crawl back in. Because one thing you talked about it, Alex Styles talked about it.
The quarter.
I was saying, Game 6, ask Spinoni here. He can jump on the mic. Game 6 all day long, Shasky. I know you were down in Arizona. But I say, look, the Lakers are going to come out fast.
Yes.
They will get a good whistle.
Survive.
Weather the storm.
Exactly.
Weather the storm.
You know
and
my
they
rule.
did that. And they did that.
I know.
5-point lead from 17 in the first quarter. I was like, oh my God.
It should have been up 25.
That's what happens.
Should have been up 25.
They should have been up
Should've been
so
up
much.
They were lucky.
Should have been up 25 at the beginning of Game 6.
They were lucky to be down 14 going into the fourth quarter.
Totally agree.
And then Austin Reeves hit the 3, and I said, this just ain't their night.
They cut it to 11, and they had 2 different chances to cut it to 8. I think this is the other part, and this is where I think the Warriors' shot selection. You don't need to bomb a 3. And Curry, the Game 4 where he bombed the second 3 on AD, that I know it's Curry. I get it. I just didn't love that shot. And it's Curry, and I know it's impossible to. I'm not slandering Curry. But I'm just being real. Guys, go to the rim. Take the elbow shot. You don't need to bomb a 40-footer.
Game 4. You talk about that stretch where Curry hits misses the 3 over AD. Klay Thompson forces 2.
Yes.
Atrocious 3-point attempts.
No, it was just catching.
I mean, it was just, oh, it drove me crazy. It still gives me nightmares.